So hey everyone, how are you doing? I don't think I've actually appeared on camera for a couple of years, but as tonight's TT is something slightly different, it's not the normal course, I thought I would try and put something a little bit different together. It's still going to be a lot of the same stuff, which is me panting and sort of tarmac, but who knows, might be able to sort of put something a bit more interesting together. Maybe I'll edit it rather than doing full course and then just upload full course separately. So the time is 5:45. I think it's the 5th of June. It's around there anyway. It's a Wednesday. And you know, for anybody who's sort of been following recent videos, you'll know that well, I used to race on a Tuesday night. This year so far it's been a Thursday, and it's always been the same course. I've been waiting for this course now probably since about March, when Coalville Wheelers released its events calendar, and I really like this course. I only got to do it a couple of times last year, and the quickest time that I managed, well, in fact I should say, so twice I did it last year. This course is predominantly starting in the west and heading to the east. There is a slight detour in it, in that you go more or less north for a couple of miles, around a roundabout, and then more or less back south for a couple of miles. But other than that, it's yeah, what, 6.5, 7 miles, I guess, of yeah, pretty much west to east. The two occasions that I did this course before, there was a headwind. So the first time was 22, I'm going to say it was about 22:40, something like that. It was very blowy that night, probably the worst time trial that I've done. I mean, the time was okay, but in terms of how it felt pretty dreadful. And then the second time I did it, it was the same but way less windy. So although there was a headwind, it obviously wasn't as much of a factor, and I managed a 21:19 that night. So what's that, about a minute and a half quicker, minute and 20 quicker, something like that. So I was pretty pleased. But tonight we've got a favourable wind. There is one section which might be a little challenging, so the trick's going to be here not to go too hard too early. But if I can manage that, and even match the power that I did the last time I did this back in August, then I should be on for a really good time. Whether this video sees the light of day or not, it's going to be a completely different matter, but I thought I'll put it out there. So 21:19 is what I'm trying to beat. I did recce this course, even though I know the roads, but I did just do a quick run through a couple of weeks ago, check out for potholes, anything sort of, you know, that's changed over the course of the last 8 or 9 months. So fingers crossed, go and get signed on, and quick warm-up. I say a quick warm-up. These days it seems to take me a little longer to sort of find my stride. I'm finding that now, even when I go out for sort of training rides on the TT bike, it's probably taking me, I don't know, 10k, something like that, so about 6 miles before I kind of feel like my legs are working as they should, and you know, I'm sort of relaxed into the position. So when I get here, get signed up in a good time, get sort of kit on, and then yeah, try and get a sort of good 20-minute, half-hour warm-up, something like that, and then make my way to the start. So usually what happens with this, so I'm expecting quite a high turnout tonight, because the sun it's not wall-to-wall sunshine, but the sun's out. The temperature's not too bad, probably about 16 degrees. I expect it to be closer to 15 by the time it kind of comes to the start. But I'm expecting quite a big turnout, because this is one of the fastest courses that Coalville do. So yeah, get signed on, see what time I'm off, and then kind of work things backward from there. 2, 1, go, 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 car coming, careful. 21, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, 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 go. I guess the video did see the light of day. I was in two minds actually whether or not I should post this. I should probably say now this is like a week on. So after the race, just about a little under a week. Yeah, well, couple of reasons really. Number one was time to be able to edit this together, and then second, probably of all of the races that I've done, I've probably spent more time watching this one back really to try and understand what went wrong. So you'll remember in that sort of intro when I said 21:19 was my PB, official PB last year. I did do this course very early one morning as well during the summer, and I did I think it was a 20:59. So literally a second under the 21 minutes. And that was really what I was hoping for this race. Sort of the conditions were just about perfect. But where it went wrong. So I should probably start by saying, so I was 10 seconds down on that PB, so 21:29, which ordinarily you'd say, it's 10 seconds, not too bad. But actually there was a lot of guys that did really well on the evening. It just goes back to what I was saying before, really, in terms of conditions being particularly favourable. And so I've just been watching this back really to sort of work out where I cocked up. And I think I've sort of drawn the conclusion. I'll be interested to see what anybody else thinks, but I think I sort of made the typical mistake, which is going too hard in the first sort of 2 to 3 miles. And I think actually whilst you're watching this, that's not really evident until and I'm going to sort of switch between miles and kilometres, because obviously I've watched this back a few times. But it's really from sort of 2k in, I think, 2 up to about 6k, something like that. That's where I think this went wrong. So coming up to this pretty much first and only sort of significant hill, there's a few like longer inclines, but I think it all started to go downhill. I'm talking 10 seconds. This is sort of how much I was looking forward to this race, and how convinced I was that I was going to do well. And I think it starts to sort of go wrong about here, because I'm probably, on reflection, I'm probably about 50 to 60 watts higher, albeit it's only for a few seconds. But then the knock-on effect is, because when I get to the top of this hill and then turn left, there's a long drag at like a couple of percent, and my power is down. So I think there was a few seconds that were lost here. And then conversely, on the way back, so I have to go round the roundabout, there's a stretch there that it feels like a mile. It's maybe not quite that long, but it's very, very similar. And because I was conscious that I'd not gone as quick on the way down to the roundabout, I then tried to make up for it coming back. So there's just a few sort of errors, and then put all those things together, and that last sort of 6k then to the finish, but in particular the last 3, my power's really surgy. It looks worse because the course is quite undulating, so it looks worse. But I know myself, even there where there is a slight gradual downhill, my power would normally be smoother than that. Unfortunately, I did record this last year as well, and I can look back and I can see that was the case. So there's 2 more shots at this season. One is middle of July, which I can already see I've got a day in London scheduled. Should make it back, but it's not really ideal because that's going to be like 5 hours in the car. Having said that, I did have a couple of occasions last year, different course, where that was sort of my day, and then I went and set PRs. So, I'm not going to get that in there as an excuse too early on. So that's the second time that this course is sort of in get my words out, on the event calendar this year, and then again in August, and I think it's sort of the early part of August. So a couple more shots. Conditions might not be as good as this, but hey, what can you do about it? Yeah, in the meantime, I think it's given me one or two things to work on and consider. First and foremost, I've got a bit of a break coming up because I've not really taken any time off the bike since like November, something like that. So a week's downtime, get the mojo back. I've got one more race, so and that's back to the usual 2-lap course. Not as interesting, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll record it, upload it, analyze it in the way that I kind of always do, and just sort of take it from there. Then have that break, and then properly get back into it. One thing that I've started to do just over these past couple of weeks is sort of mix things up now a little bit from a training point of view. As you can probably tell, I'm quite disappointed by the outcome of this. I've started to mix things up actually, and really only sort of intensity now that I've got in my training is being done on the TT bike. Otherwise I'm sort of mixing things up with a little bit of tempo, bit of zone 2, and doing that on the road bike, and now sort of trying to expand or lengthen the amount of time that I'm riding as well. Unfortunately, British summer has not arrived early. It's been a bit of a shocker so far, and it's been a case of, on some days at least, get up early just to get back to make sure that they don't get wet, because I've said this a few times in past videos, I don't clean bikes anymore. And I think the other thing that I'm really considering here as well, which will seem a little bit weird, is gravel riding, just to back things off a little bit, take a bit more of the intensity out. Don't know when I'm going to find time to do all of these things. But yeah, I think maybe because I've been so focused on these shorter events that my endurance is kind of suffering. Basically, a lot of the steady rides, if not all of the steady rides that I'd done up until maybe a month or so ago, were practically all indoors and on Zwift. So I think between the rest, I'm just going to maybe not take things quite so serious for a little while and kind of see where I wind up, because actually last year with a couple of different course PBs that I managed to achieve, they were more or less at the point where I thought, wow, season done, just have a bit of fun now, instead of being, or trying to be, quite so sort of scientific and analytical over things. Forget all that, just get out and kind of enjoy myself. Oh, there is one other, in fact 2 other things that I can mention here is, number 1, legs weren't completely clean shaven. Definitely a few seconds, if not a few watts in that. But probably the most serious point is there was a couple of photographs actually, and I also clocked this myself as a kind of turn going into this sort of second half, where the sun's at quite a favourable angle and I can see my position, and I'm not tucked in the way that I normally would be as well, sort of head sticking up, acting as like a bit of a windsock, I guess. Not an excuse, but definitely a factor, because started to suffer with sort of lower back and glute pain, something that I've suffered with in the past, touch wood, gone again now. But I think I was sort of nursing that and slightly mindful of sort of being too cramped up, too tucked, and then going and hurting myself basically and having an extended period off the bike. So I'll put this one down to learning, I think. It was good fun, just obviously a little bit disappointing, but there wasn't a surprise with it. I think I knew by this point here that that PB, not least going sub 21, was kind of done and dusted. So it's just a case of trying to get as close to things as I possibly could, albeit only 10 seconds. So use this one as a training ride. Got 2 more hits at it this year. For the next 2, assuming that I make them, weather, diary, all that kind of thing, I'll put something very similar together and set them up as a bit of a playlist. And I think I will get back to this course and sort of test myself on it in a unofficial way as well. So here's me just saying I'm not taking this as serious, and yeah, what am I talking about doing now? Old habits die hard, I guess. Anyways, we'll let this one ride out from here. Hope you enjoyed. Different scenery, different setup to the video. If you have any comments or questions, please do drop them in the section below. It will be very welcome. Big thumbs up if you like the content, and of course subscribe if you would like to see more. Thanks for watching.